Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of The Smart Bride. I can't believe I'm already recording episode 3. This is so exciting. Guys, this is real. This is the real deal. So thank you again to all of my followers tuning in on a bi-weekly basis, checking out the episodes. If you haven't tuned in and kind of been following me, episode 1, we pretty much touched base on the resources available in Windsor, being the wedding shows, the wedding magazines, and now the episode 2, we touched base a little bit of my findings at the wedding show, which was in September, the end of September. So if you missed that, make sure you check out the wedding shows in January. There will be 2, one at Chicharo and one at Caboto. And basically setting your budget. Now, the one thing I wanted to stress to my viewers out there is I'm not here to plan your wedding, okay? I'm here to kind of give you a little bit of food for thought. I want you to plan your wedding based on, your preferences, and, your ideas, but I'm here to kind of help guide you, okay? I want to throw some information at you that might go, hey, you know what? I didn't think about that, and oh wow, that might change something that you're planning on doing, or kind of sway you away from something, or make something a little bit more clear to you. And I think that's very important, especially when you're planning a wedding. Most of you have probably never done it before. You may have helped out with the girlfriends or a relative, sister, but planning your own wedding, it can be a lot. So there's a lot of components to it. So kind of having the most information just makes things a little bit easier and ideally a little bit less stressful. So the things that I wanted to kind of talk about today is, because we touched base on budgeting last episode, I think now I want to get into, if you have set your budget, what is going to fit in that budget, okay? So now you need to make a list of, sit down with your spouse and sit down and think of what's important to you. Some people may have a friend that's a photographer and that's who's gonna do their wedding photos. Someone may not want a wedding photographer. Someone may want a videographer. You have to ask yourself what is important to you and your significant other, okay? I know, and I've heard it before, like just touching base on a photographer. The one thing coming from your wedding, yes, you're gonna have a night shared with your loved ones, family, friends, but that's one night, and after 24 hours, it's gone. The one thing that is going to sit with you and last forever is going to be photos. And I have a lot of clients who come in or brides, and they tell me, yeah, my mom's girlfriend, she takes great pictures, she shows me their Instagram, Facebook, great. They've got a professional camera, they may know how to edit, and I mean, typically, you can get some great shots. I can get some great shots on my iPhone as well. That doesn't mean they're a professional wedding photographer. When you're looking at a photographer, you want to capture those intimate moments as a newlywed, okay? With your family, with your friends, with your significant other. If you don't get those are gone. Pictures are something that you will look at for the rest of your life. You're gonna share them on Facebook. You're gonna share them on Instagram. You're gonna share them with your family. You're probably gonna print out a book and have it sitting in your home for people to look at. So, and the other thing I stress is the dress. Typically, those are, in my opinion, 2 important components to a wedding, and even a videographer. Videographers have been around now for some time. It is a little bit of a newer concept to weddings. You didn't see it, as much, 10 years ago, but videographers are amazing. I've seen a lot of, small clips from weddings. You get to really capture the vibe, capture the moment, the wildness, the intimacy. And to see that on camera is amazing. To have kind of a 2, 3, even 5-minute little clip of your wedding kind of all rolled into one, from the time that you say I do to, you barely walking straight at the end of the night because you've had too many drinks. I mean, that's what you want to capture. And I think you've really got to ask yourself, what's my budget for that? Is it important to me? Maybe it's not. Maybe your friend is a professional photographer, but sometimes putting that weight on somebody's shoulder, if they're a relative or they're a friend, to get them to take those pictures. And if you're not happy with them, that's going to be a little bit of a tough conversation to have with somebody. So I just kind of want to bring that to mind. So the other thing is hair and makeup. So a lot of girls kind of, they may think, okay, I can do it myself, or whatever the case may be. But, in a picture, you've got to let the professionals do what they do, okay? And that's why they have trial hair runs, trial makeup runs. And a lot of my brides, speaking with them after, is they tell me that having a professional hairstylist and makeup artist come to them and do their party's makeup along with theirs was probably the best investment in their wedding. To see themselves look like that and they're photo ready, their makeup is gorgeous, it's not running, it's professionally done, along with their hair. I can do my hair, don't get me wrong, but there's a huge difference from when I straighten my hair myself or curl it myself to when I go and get it professionally done. So, I mean, you're not looking at hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Is it, absolutely cheap to do? No, I mean, makeup, I believe makeup packages, are running around $75 to $100. That would include your trial along with the day of. And then you would also, account for your guests as well, which I think is a little bit cheaper because they're not going to get the trial run. So those are some things to think about. Sorry, I've got to take a little sip of water here before I start clearing my throat. Okay. So that was a few things. So, photographer, videographer, hair, makeup. You got to ask yourself, what is important? Is it important to have a taco bar set up at the end of the night to feed your guests? I mean, what's your budget going to allow you to do? And I think really sitting down and listing, what's important to you is huge. Also, your guest list, okay? And I can't stress that enough. Your guest list, the amount of guests that come to that wedding, is really, really going to take a huge portion of that budget when it comes to feeding them. You're looking at about 1/3 of your budget is going to go to food. So, I mean, when you're spending anywhere between about $25 and the upwards of $50 a plate times 100 people, it adds up quick. So if you are looking to cut your budget, the fastest and the easiest way to cut that budget is eliminating some guests. I know it's tough to do, but again, this is your day, it's your wedding. Bring the people there that mean the most to you, that value you, and that have been there for you. I think we kind of get lost in who's gonna have the biggest wedding and, that wow factor. And I think I touched base on that, last episode. We're very materialistic and we've really got lost with really what, the meaning of a wedding is. And I think, we can sit here and we can say it's about love and commitment, but we tend as women, because we've been planning this since we were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, we lose track of that and we go, okay, we want all the fancy stuff, we want the best decor, we want the sexiest dress, we want the best photographer, we want the best videographer, we want the best, but what comes with the best is a higher price tag. So you really have to ask yourself, what means the most to you. Even when it comes down to getting a spray tan before your wedding day, is that necessary for you? Those little things. But again, to me, I don't want to say that, I'm all about how I look, but if I'm going to be going back and looking at pictures, I'm probably going to want to say that, wow, I was, I felt comfortable in the weight that I was, my hair was, how I liked it. I was happy with my makeup. I was happy with my dress choice. And that's like another thing. I see this all the time. I have clients come in and they bought a dress, okay? And they've bought a dress at another store, and now they're in my store with bridesmaids. And they're looking and they're going, oh my God, this dress is gorgeous. Oh my God, this dress is gorgeous. Can I try it on? And I ask them, okay, you have a wedding gown. If you try this dress on and you absolutely love it, what are you going to do? And they kind of look at me and go, well, I don't know. Well, are you prepared to buy another dress if you fall in love with it and now you can't stop thinking about it and because you're not happy with your dress? Or are you looking to try on the dress because you really aren't happy with your dress? And what I gather from a lot of those clients is they've bought a dress because they were in a store and the sales rep, builds a relationship with them, and now they put this dress on, and this is the first store that they've been to, and they're trying some stuff on, and this is the one that they like the best. So the salesperson goes, okay, well, if you buy it today, I'm gonna give you 10% off or 15% off, or this is the last dress and it's $500 off, and they make the deal sound so enticing to you, and you're excited because you haven't seen yourself in a wedding dress before. And I see it all the time. What do? You buy the dress because of a deal, and then guess what? You regret it for the next 9 months of planning your wedding. So even small things like that, don't make rational decisions. Think about things. Soak it all in. These are not, most people have got 9 months, 2 years that they're planning their wedding. You don't have to make a decision today. Even when my clients come into my store, I tell them, if you love the dress, you're gonna buy the dress. Do I give some deals here and there? Yes, I do, by all means, but I never present a deal to a client to get them to buy that day. If you're not ready to buy today, you're not gonna buy today, and I don't want you to buy today, because the last thing I want is for you to regret your dress purchase, and then you're mad at me and upset with me that I made you buy a dress that you're not totally in love with, and you're not gonna be happy the day of when you go to put your dress on and it's, you're thinking about other ones that you've seen or something that you like better, and I don't think that's fair. So, and that goes for anything, when you're shopping for hair and makeup, when you're shopping for a photographer, when you're shopping for a venue, don't get so caught up in the sales pitch. Really sit back, take your emotions out of things, and really think about it. Write down the pros and cons, look at your budget. Again, that's the most important thing, budget, because sticking to your budget is huge. It's very easy to get sidetracked, and I see it again, and I'll preach about it in my store, because last week I had a client come in, she had a $1,500 budget and she ended up buying a $2,500 dress. So, we sat there and I kind of was talking to her and said, look, how are we gonna eliminate $1,000 in the rest of your planning to basically compensate for the extra $1,000 that you spent on a wedding gown? And those are the things that you have to think about. So now she's kind of going in her head, okay, well, what can I eliminate? Or if if you're kind of stuck with that, I guess when you are planning your budget, have a little bit of room set aside, that allows you to spend a little bit extra here and there. Sorry guys, I'm using my hands a lot, but that's kind of basically it's the same thing when you're building a house. Or when you're doing renovations, you've got a $5,000 budget, they've quoted you $3,500. Put that extra $1,500 in there for, some things that may go wrong or things that you didn't think of, because trust me, there's gonna always be things that you did not think about, and maybe that I didn't even bring to your attention on the show, that you're gonna get hit with and go, oh wow, I didn't know that. And, one thing that I can think of off the top of my head are alterations. Alterations are very expensive, and a lot of women do not realize how expensive that is. So when you're coming in here for a budget, when you're going to shop for a dress and you've got a budget of $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, whatever the case may be, is that with your alterations? Because typically alterations on a wedding dress, I'm going to tell you right now, are going to cost you anywhere between about $250 to about $600 with a blink of an eye. So, the last thing you want to do is go over on your dress just with the purchase of it, and then you go and pick it up in 6 to 8 months when it comes in, and you find out that you've got $600 worth of alterations that you didn't plan for. That's not a good feeling. So having that little buffer in your budget really helps with things like that. And again, asking as many questions as you can when you are doing your purchasing. Do not let these vendors take advantage of you for your lack of knowledge. If you go in there and you know what I mean, you come there prepared, you have the questions, they're gonna have a little bit of a harder time, and excuse my language, bullshitting you. And I say that a lot because there's a lot of salespeople out there that are bullshitters. All they want from you is your money, and in my opinion, I don't like giving my money to people that don't deserve it and that are gonna cheat me of my money. So I have no problem spending my money. I'm not a cheap person, but you've got to earn it for one, and it has to be, worth my while. So that's the other thing. And, we talk about transportation, and actually that's another big thing. Some people will actually eliminate transportation, but I think transportation is great, actually. So Limos by Mr. J can actually help you find an executive transportation for your wedding date. They've got silver limos, white limos, black limos. They even have executive buses, which is really fun now. I mean, if you've got a big party, you've got, 8 to 12 in your bridal party, definitely going with one of the buses is fun. You can stand, and if you want to check them out, Mr. J's Limos, they are at 4205 County Road 42. Give them a call at 519-796-8106, or check out the website mrjslimos.com. Mr. J's is the best place for your limos needs. Seriously, they're at the wedding show. I see them all the time. He's great. They've got a wonderful lineup of limos, so be sure to check them out. If you've got room in your budget for transportation, I think that's huge. Keeping the entire party together in one limo, not only do you get to capture tons of photos, I think some of the best pictures come from in the limo. You get to be crazy. It kind of gives you that intimate setting without everyone bothering you. You get to spend some quality time with your party and, your husband. So check them out, Mr. J Limos. Now, the other thing I wanted to touch base on as well is managing your time. So, I'm gonna kind of bring up a wedding planner in the midst of this. And some people feel the need for a wedding planner, and some people feel no need for the wedding planner. And you really got to ask yourself, how much time do you have to plan this wedding? I know personally myself, I live a very, very busy lifestyle. I've got a son, so I'm bouncing around with him. I've got a business, I'm bouncing around with that. You've got your personal life. So and then I go to the gym. You're busy, and I get that. And in today's world, everyone's pretty busy. I mean, most people are working 40 hours plus a week. So at the end of the day, you're tired. Do you really want to come home and make a seating chart or call 6 venues to figure out, what the pricing is going to be? That's a lot of work. So if you do not have the time for that, then maybe a wedding planner is something that you should be looking at if it fits your budget. And a wedding planner is not somebody that you have to get right from day one. A wedding planner could come in 6 months after you've started planning your wedding, maybe after you've chosen your venue, after you've gotten your wedding dress, after you've chosen your photographers, something of that nature. And then they come in and they help you with some of the smaller stuff. Or maybe you have a good friend, maybe your maid of honor is going to help you, or your mother can help you. So if you don't have the help family-wise, friend-wise, then maybe a wedding planner is the way to go. And just from speaking with some of my brides, they've even brought a wedding planner in, honestly, towards the end. Like, I'm talking about the last 2 to 3 weeks it's intense. I mean, you are doing the small things, the tedious things, the stuff that, you know, makes you think that you really have to sit down and put some effort into. And it's a lot of work, you know, making sure, what did I have? One of my clients got married this weekend, and what was she upset about? The seating chart. She thought her wedding planner was supposed to take care of the seating chart, which she did not do, and threw it back on the bride and groom a few days prior to the wedding date, which they had to get a sign made, and basically like the board, so that when you come into the wedding, you see kind of what table you're at. And she said she asked for it in gold, with gold writing, and she went and picked it up, and it was like basically like a green. It was that goldy green, and she was just like, oh my God. And really at this point in the game, there's no turning back. She's like, you know what? I'm just gonna have to live with it. So kind of where I'm going with that is, if you do get a wedding planner, really ask them, like, and set your expectations and make sure that they're clear on, you know, what they're going to handle for you and what you're expected to handle. I mean, because if you don't want to get your hands wet in anything, then make sure that they know that right from the get-go, so that they can handle everything and don't put anything back on you. So, you know, I think that's kind of what I wanted to touch base on today. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. It's Thanksgiving weekend, so I hope everyone enjoys the holiday and eats amazing food, because we all know Thanksgiving dinner is probably one of the best dinners of the year. So thank you so much again for tuning in.